people may not calculate the time. So welcoming remark. The agenda now is welcoming remark, and that welcoming remark will be done by me. I'm Gideon Evdisori. Let me take this time to welcome you all. Feel free, feel at home, no matter where you are connecting from, no matter where you are joining us from. We are one big family. We are all neighbors. So feel free. You can listen, take your pen and paper, jot down some things, some information. There are many important things that you will be getting to know today, and there are some you already have idea and some knowledge about. So feel free as if you are home, because this is like home away from home. So once again, I welcome you all to this big family of OAAD. Welcome. And opening remark will be given by the president of OAAD, Dr. Odi. If you are here, can you give the opening remark?
Hello, Dr. Gideon. Thank you very much for the platform. Yeah, I was intending that General Secretary should have done this, but Dr. Ayugi, are you in a place where you can come up with that? Vice President, East Africa? Okay, so let's proceed. So ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be part of this conversation today and to welcome all of us to this beautiful day. It's a very exciting thing that we are gathered again at this first quarter meeting, and we are set to move on into this brand new year. One thing we want to emphasize at this time is that OAAD has come to a point where we have been able to achieve a significant measure of trust building amongst ourselves. And we've arrived at that point where we can begin to do a lot of practical things that will enhance our engagement capacities as individuals. And remember, of course, that we look at all members of OAD as leaders of Africa. And we look at us as people who are representatives of communities, representatives of countries, representatives of entities around the continent. And the big thing is that whenever we want to do some high-level engagement where you are, we will be able to reach out to you very easily as a member of this family to drive things within that angle. So the beauty, as we have known, is that if we are able to keep driving this process, everyone can rejoice and be very much supported by the organization. And we have said that the stronger the organization is, the stronger every one of us can become. And we are committed to advancing and supporting ourselves to get to that level where we need to get to. So please welcome to this meeting today as I hand over back to the moderator, Gideon. Thank you very much. Yeah, okay, please unmute yourself, Gideon. You're still muted.
Okay, sorry for that. Next on our agenda is introduction of OAAD. So I will rapidly introduce OAAD. OAAD, the Organization of African Academic Doctors, OAAD Global, is an international interprofessional organization bringing together African professors, innovators, entrepreneurs, early career researchers, government and driving sectoral leaders with PhD training from 54 African countries and across 5 continents. In existence to design informed solution and facilitate implementation while leveraging the trust we have built among ourselves and the social capital of members in order to remain in touch with real communities across Africa. OAAD is institutionalizing collaboration among African researchers in the depending capacity for mutually beneficial engagement with entrepreneurs in multiple industries and expanding partnership with relevant internal and external stakeholders. According to organization self-introduction, with over 100 predominantly African researcher publication and ongoing entrepreneurial endeavors, our vision on which we focus in is what we have power to do and have begun to enhance the quality of life in Africa through research, technology, and innovation. So this is OAAD, and this is just a brief introduction of OAAD. So next on our agenda, we have two speakers that will be here speaking to us, and we will have to listen, and there will be a time for question, answer, and other remarks. So introduction of the first speaker. The first speaker is one of our own, is our professor. He is interested in understanding the behavior of chemical in environment, and his primary goal is to develop technique for mitigating chemical pollution. Mr. Edmond has published more than 40 research papers in international journals, and he is associate editor for Frontier in Water, academic editor of PLOs, one and peer review, and editorial board member of Integrated Environmental Assessment and Management, BMC Chemistry, Communication, F and Environment. Recently, he have been elected as a fellow of the Institution of Environmental Science in recognition of his outstanding contribution in environmental science and sustainability. Our speaker is no one else but Assistant Professor Edmond Sangayadu. Professor, if you are there, the stage is yours. Let us
Thank
send
you.
emoji and welcoming sign in the chat box for our professor.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to talk again and meet virtually once again. So today I just want to talk about the opportunities that are available to those involved in STEM, both for teachers and also for academics. Recently, that is on the 1st of February, the United Kingdom, particularly England, came up with a new policy that will make it possible for people who have trained as teachers in modern languages, as well as in STEM, to go to acquire what is termed qualified teacher status, which makes it possible for them to come and teach in the UK. So this happened on the 1st of February, and opportunities are available to 4 African countries. That's Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. And I've been writing a little bit about this and published it on my small website, and it has been receiving much attention from Nigeria, especially Ghana, South Africa, and Zimbabwe, and many other countries. So basically, I was asked by Huda to talk about that opportunity specifically. So that is what I'm going to focus on right now. And I understand the other topic of concern is we are supposed to talk about immigration to UK particularly, and provide some guidances on that area. So I'll start off with immigration to UK for academic and teaching purposes. So basically, one of the questions that I get from many people is, how did you get a job at Northumbria University? Remember, I was a researcher in China for 5 years, and previously I was also a lecturer in Zimbabwe for around 6 months. So people are always curious, like, how did you end up in the UK teaching and conducting research there? So a simple answer I would say is I was applying widely. With widely, I mean I applied for positions in Canada, positions in New Zealand, and Norway, Germany, Australia, all those countries, South Africa, Botswana. So I've been applying for these positions, and I can confidently say without much success. So I wasn't interested in coming to UK. It wasn't my area of my destination for conducting research for personal reasons. But one person encouraged me that just trying, he told me that he got a position in UK, so he wants me to join him. So that's how I ended up starting applying for positions. And the website that has been resourceful to me, I'll throw it in the chat right now. It's, let me just do it right away. It's jobs.ac.uk. So this is the website that I used to make my applications. And in total, I applied to around, I think, 8 universities in the UK. And I was called for interview by 3 universities out of 8. And I got responses, rejections, I think, from 3, and the rest were no response. So that is kind of my experience in applying for UK. So I'll talk about the first interview. The interview process is like, I submitted my applications. Most of the times they just required a research statement, and sometimes if it is for a lecturer position, they also ask for a teaching statement, but some universities then don't have the requirement to write a teaching statement. So what I always did was include my teaching portfolio. A teaching portfolio basically includes the evaluations that I got from students, the courses that I taught, their descriptions, my responsibilities for those courses, and things like the kind of assignments that I gave, how I planned my lessons, the thinking that I have when I'm planning those lessons, and also my teaching philosophy. So whenever I submitted for any position, especially in the UK, I always included my teaching portfolio. Whether that was beneficial or not, I don't know, but that is something that I was always doing. So one of the key features for all those the places that I was called for interview I was required to give a presentation. It was mostly between 10 to 15 minutes. And one university asked for 20 minutes, but most of them it was either 10 minutes presentation or 15-minute presentation on a lesson that I'll conduct to undergraduate students. And I'll give the presentation on any topic. So that's how they were evaluated. From 2 universities out of those 3, I was rejected after I offered that presentation. Then on the 3rd one, where I am right now at Northumbria University, what I did, instead of teaching for 10 minutes or 12 minutes, I decided to talk about my thinking behind the lecture that I conducted in those 10 minutes. So that is what I did. So basically, all these universities, they gave me instruction that we want you to teach about this specific topic, right? So I taught on that particular topic that they had given me. So that was kind of the procedure for applying part for the position. Then another important thing is for UK, they always have person specifications. So they have this application package which they tell you the specifications for the individual that they are looking for, the qualifications, whether it is essential or whether it is going to be assessed at the at interview stage, right? And there will be kind of various demarcations for those specifications. So whether you need to, when you're writing your cover letter or your statement, you try to indicate that you have met those personal specifications. So that is what I did. And out of the 10 or so submissions that I had, I only succeeded in 1. So that's why I'm at Northumbria right now. Now, after that process, the next step was applying for immigration. I'll say it was easy, relatively easily than what I expected, and my experience in trying to migrate to other countries like Canada or Australia. For UK, it's relatively easy. I'm not sure because, with immigration, it depends with the country that you're applying in and also the country that you are from. So those are kind of some factors that we need to consider, especially for immigration. And the other important thing is the field that you're applying for. For some of us, environmental science, which is kind of controlled, that means you need to submit additional documentation. For example, there's a certificate called ATAS. So you need to apply for that ATAS, and the information that you include in that ATAS is provided by the institution that have hired you. So without that information, you can't apply. So the important document that you'll need first is the certificate of sponsorship, that after you get the position, the institution that is hiring you, they send you a certificate of sponsorship, and using that certificate of sponsorship, you're going to apply for things like ATAS, and they might also require you to submit what's called ECTIS, ECCTIS. I will write it down. I'm just going to write down the key things that you will be required. For ECTIS, they might require you, depending where you got your PhD, right? They'll require you to submit proof of English. Right. So with proof of English, what it essentially means is they just need a letter on method of instruction, MOI, method of instruction. I'm going to write that as well. So it's just a letter called a method of instruction, which is going to be issued by the university where you got your PhD, right? Or your undergraduate degree or master's degree. They write a letter that informs, says that you were instructed in English. So with that letter of instruction, with that letter on method of instruction, your transcripts, right? You will all submit those to ECTIS and they evaluate. ECTIS is very fast and very professional. Depending with the country that you're from, again, it may take between 3 to maybe 7 working days. Then you get your ECTIS, then you submit it. So it's a very fast process. So after you have done this, the next thing that you only need to do is, need to go for things like TB test. Then after you get your TB test, you go for applications. You submit using VFS, but it all depends with the country that you are in again. So you submit your application, but in all that, you need to remember that you need to pay for IHS, which is the health surcharge, immigration health surcharge, right? This is the most expensive part of all of this process. It depends with the number of years that you want your visa to be. Normally it's 3 or 5 years, sometimes 1 year. So if you are going for 5 years like I did, you might have to fork out around £4,300 for that. So you need to be aware of that. So after you have paid your health surcharge, you can go ahead and submit your application via VFS. So when you go for VFS with the necessary documents, then you apply for your visa. So that is kind of the general process that you will go through. So it's a bit expensive, but the only good thing is sometimes your hiring institute will cover for your cost, your cost only, but not for your dependents. So that is kind of the process that you go through. So this is the part for applying for academic jobs, the process and procedures and the essential documents that you just need to be aware of when you're preparing for that. So yeah, thank you. Then the other thing that I was asked by Huda is talking about the teaching opportunities. So for teaching, it's mainly for, like I mentioned, that for people who have for teaching qualifications from Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. With teaching qualifications, from these 4 countries, a person is considered a qualified teacher if they have got the National Certificate of Education or National Diploma of Education. However, to qualify for the qualified teacher status in UK, those 2 qualifications are not considered. If you have got the National Certificate of Education, if you have got the National Diploma of Education, it's not considered an adequate qualification for the qualified teacher status. So what it means is you need to have at least an undergraduate degree, but your undergraduate degree should be in education, right, of that specific STEM subject. So it may be Bachelor of Education in Chemistry. That is considered a qualification, right? Or a Bachelor of Science Education in Mathematics. That is also considered a good qualification. But in some cases, right, you can have your Bachelor of Science honors degree in physics, right? After you got your Bachelor of Science honors degrees in physics, you also go on to get a postgraduate certificate in education. With those 2 qualifications, you qualify for the qualified teacher status. And that is not enough. You also need at least 9 months experience teaching. So if you have been teaching, say you have your qualification in chemistry, but you have been teaching physics, you don't qualify for the qualified teacher status. You are still considered a newly qualified teacher. But or another case that I've been asked is, what if you have got a Bachelor of Engineering, right, in chemical, Bachelor BEng in chemical engineering, and you have been teaching chemistry? Again, because your qualification is not in chemistry, right, you don't qualify for the qualified teacher status. So briefly, that is what I wanted to share, and I welcome any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And it was clear from my side. So what to do if you have a question, you either put in the chat room or you raise your hand. The prof is here to make things more clearer for us. So you put down your question or you raise your hand so you can be asked to open your mic. Any question, please? There's no hand. Okay, there's a hand being raised. Okay. Kofi, right? Kofi, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, Doctor, thank you very much for this educative. It was very brief and I got everything. I'm so grateful. With your experience in the UK universities, as well, having gone through and I heard you say you applied to about 10 and only one was successful. I, as a PhD student, want to know whether, based on your experience and your contacts, whether it is easy for PhD students to get postdoctoral positions in the UK from a different country when they are not trained in the UK. I mean, for example, moving from China to go and do postdoc over there, is it that easy, or they prefer people that are trained in UK universities? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. From my experience, like for postdoc positions, there is high demand for postdoc positions in China than anywhere else in the world. Like the number of postdoc positions that are open, like right now, most of them, like probably more than 50%, they are in China than anywhere else in the world. So that is the first thing that you need to be aware of. Then the second thing is for UK, not all universities have got opportunities for postdocs. I'll give example of where I am right now. Currently, there is only, I think, less than 5 open postdoc positions, not only for the whole university. Then the university across the road, Newcastle University, right, which is a much bigger university and with many research opportunities. It is less than 10 right now, open positions for postdocs. So you can see that the postdocs is not it's not really big in UK as it is in China. And again, that reflects with the number of publications that come from UK versus China, right? So that is the first thing that you need to be aware of, that kind of gap in demand for postdocs between China and UK. Then the second thing is the name. In China, we normally call them postdocs, right? Postdoctoral fellows, postdoctoral research fellows, depending on the nature of your funding. In UK, you'll find that most of the time they are referred to as research associates. And in some rare cases, research assistants. So you need to be careful when you're searching for these positions that you don't just search for postdocs, but also look for research associates. So that is one another thing that you need to be aware of. And your question, coming back to your question, that are there opportunities for postdocs? Yes, there are opportunities for postdocs. And that website that I gave, jobs.ac.uk, you'll find many opportunities for postdocs. That's where you can find them. Yeah. I hope that answers you.
Yeah, Kofi, do you have any follow-up question?
Oh, no, thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. And the next question is in the chat box from Ahmed. I think he wants to know whether you move from Africa or you move from China directly to UK.
I moved from China directly to the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming from Guangdong province directly to UK.
Okay.
I have a question, sir.
Okay. Emmanuel, you can go ahead.
Professor Edmund.
The person already graduated with an undergraduate degree, and he want to do an undergraduate again in different field. Can he apply still?
I didn't get the question, sorry.
Okay, he is asking if you have a bachelor degree, maybe in chemistry, but you want to move to the UK and do bachelor in education, is that available?
Yes, it's possible. You can go and do your Bachelor of Education. It's possible, you can do that. But the question is, why would you want to do that? considering that there is an option to do a 9 months course, postgraduate certificate in education. So that's kind of the question that you'll be asking yourself. Why would you want to do a BEd when you can just do a postgraduate certificate in education in 1 year?
Okay, so
Yeah,
thank
please,
you for the
can I ask my question?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Emmanuel, right?
Yeah, Emmanuel, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
Emmanuel,
you,
you can
Professor
ask.
Edmond. Yeah, thank you, Professor Edmond, for that elaborate discussion. So I want to ask, say for instance, for people that don't have teaching experience, university, so is it possible for them to apply, maybe having the after postdoc, is it possible for them to apply for teaching position in the UK? For instance, they don't really have experience from the university. Maybe they have taught in the secondary school, in the college, but not in the university. What's the chance getting maybe teaching position in the UK university? Thank you.
Okay, let me rephrase to check if I've got it clear. You are saying you have teaching experience.
Only in secondary school.
Yeah, in secondary school or high school, not in
Only
the
in
university.
secondary schools. And you are now interested in to become a lecturer.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so that means you already have your PhD, right?
Postdoc, after postdoc, right?
I didn't get it.
Yeah, maybe I'm done with my postdoc. So maybe I want to apply teaching position, but no experience.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, I got it. Okay, I didn't understand first. So your experience only is teaching in high school, then you want to move on to become a lecturer. You already did your postdoc. It's fine, right? Because for lecturer positions, they are kind of they're kind of entry positions. You are not expected to have to have any teaching experience for a lecturer position. So it's an entry position where it's not expected for you to be having relevant teaching experience.
Okay. I think that is clear.
Yeah.
That take few more questions so we can allow our professor to go and rest. Now we take
There's additional questions from Ambassador, then Hyacinth and Brian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so maybe I'll start off with Ambassador. On Global Talent Visa, I have received many requests of people asking me to write them recommendation letters for the Global Talent Visa. And my response has always been try to get a reference recommendation letter from someone who is kind of famous in the field, right? I'm just an assistant professor. That even though I'm a fellow of environmental science of the Institute of Environmental Science, that's not adequate to act as a reference letter. Yes, you can apply for the Global Talent Visa. The institution that is interested in you may help you secure that Global Talent Visa. So that answers Hyacinth. Then Hyacinth asks, how about the pay? How does it compare with China and places like the US? Compared to US and the salaries, they are lower, much lower. And the reason behind that is because of the social amenities that are provided in the UK, which are not present in US. So things like healthcare and all those other things, right? So the difference in the social amenities that are provided in the UK and US account for that big pay gap. Then comparing with China it depends with the province that you are in. If you are in Guangdong province and you graduated from the top 100 universities in the world, that means your salary will be comparable to that in UK. But if you didn't graduate from top 100 universities and you don't have any special fellowship from Guangdong province or the city you are in, then your salary will be the salary in UK will be much higher, maybe twice higher. Yeah, so I hope that answers that. Then Akpa, you're asking, I want Prof to throw more light on postgraduate pupils in the UK with all your degrees in one field of study without teaching experience. If you don't have teaching experience, again, you can get lecturer positions because a lecturer is considered an entry position. You are not expected to have gained any teaching experience. Then Seth John is asking, I've heard that UK has a program for PhD graduates from the top 15. Do you have any information on about that? It's not top 50, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's now reduced to only top 20. If you graduated from top 20 universities, excluding universities, I think from Asia and Africa, you can apply for that, for those opportunities. Those are kind of top talent, similar to global talent visa, but these ones are more of top talent visa. So you can apply directly without even being offered a job. You just apply for that visa, and if you've got the money for immigration also charge, you'll get your visa as long as you graduated. I think it's not top 50. It's possibly to just top 20 or top 10 universities. Then Ambassador is asking for my teaching portfolio. Then Brian is asking for the research statement. So these ones will probably need 2 sessions for these things. I'm sorry, I cannot answer that right now. I hope that answers it. Thank you.
Okay. If you have any other question, you can ask. We can take like 1 or 2 more questions, then we'll let go of the professor. Make use of the opportunity and ask your question, clear your doubt. Okay. We'll give 30 seconds if no one. Okay, you can unmute. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Professor, for the elaborate explanation. I want to ask, like, is it possible for us to get a template of something like application guides that includes what should be included in the CV, the purpose statement, just a portfolio that will guide people when applying for these jobs? Yeah, academic position jobs, yeah, basically in the UK or Canada or wherever. Yeah, because you are like a guide to us now, and you've been able to break through the system. So if you could point us to some things that we need to do to get through the system. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I think I'll prepare something, then I'll share with Huda about how I'll prepare like a step-by-step guide or a collection of resources that we can then just share amongst ourselves. Yeah, I'll do that. Maybe it will take me probably to finish everything. It's probably going to take me 2 weeks to do that. So I think by first week of March, I should have finished preparing all that. So yeah, I'll send it across.
Thank you very much. If Chike is there, you can unmute.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor, for your insightful talks and discussions with us. We really appreciate. So my name is Chike. I want to ask briefly with regards to maybe postdoctoral positions, maybe in the UK and in the US, if maybe looking through schools and maybe the departments of your related study and contacting with the professors and stuff like that for maybe positions, because sometimes maybe these positions are not being posted, but maybe they might be available. How about that option?
It's possible you can contact the professors for opportunities, but for countries like UK, they are required by law to advertise any positions. It's kind of mandatory that they advertise. So they normally recommend that you can talk to the hiring professor. If they advertise, then you talk to them, it can help. So yeah, you can do that. You can contact the professors directly that you are interested. Yeah, but what's important is just remember that the funding approaches in UK, they're totally different in China. In China, you know that if you contact a professor, they most likely have funding for hiring a postdoc. And if they don't, the university is going to provide funding for that anyway. So that is something that you just need to be aware of. So yeah, you can contact the professor. There is no harm in trying, but just remember that here they are required by the law to advertise any position that they might have.
Okay, thank you so much. And also, I heard also in the US that there are lots of funding in the US, like some of my friends say.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's what I can say. Yeah, US you can try. Yeah, it's for some universities. Yeah, you can find they have lots of funding, but for others, yeah, not as much.
All right, thank you so much, Professor.
Okay. Brother Musa was asking, what if he want to go to UK for industrial job or teaching position, but he have only a master degree? Is that possible?
Yes. So remember again, I mentioned that lecturer is the entry position. Some universities hire lecturers who only have a master's degree. Then for industry jobs, yes, you can apply directly to industry. Again, the best port of call is that website, jobs.ac, or you can go to newscientist.com, right? So there are several websites that you can just use to look for these positions. So yeah, it's possible you can apply with a master's degree.
Okay. One more question stayed there. I think that is, say, I've had student discipline is a big problem in the UK. Have you faced that problem so far?
Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to comment on that. I cannot comment on that right now.
No,
Sorry
that's
about
okay.
that. Yeah.
That's okay. Thank you very much. So far, so good. If nothing else to be asked for, then I can now ask the professor to just give a few advices and then a parting statement.
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm glad to talk to all of you once again. I'll just reiterate that there are opportunities available. The only question is, are you prepared for those opportunities? So my advice is always try to prepare for the position that you're interested in. There is no harm in looking at the qualifications that are required in those positions, even before you complete your PhD. Just look at what they require. And one thing practice that I have learned is whenever there is a position that you're interested in, but you're not yet qualified for that, but you haven't finished your PhD, right? You just check who is the person who was hired for that position, right? After they advertise, look at their qualifications and ask yourself, how can I meet those qualifications? Or how can I exceed those qualifications? So it's just some practice that you can just try, right? What I did always was to apply to Norway. The reason why I applied to Norway is because Norway, they have got a national policy that they provide feedback to every applicant. So you are guaranteed that when you apply to Norway, you're going to get feedback regarding the quality of your application, and also what are those that succeeded, what they included in their application. So yeah, again, there is no harm in trying. The only problem is people just get scared before they attempt applying for this position. So just try.
Good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We are so happy getting you on the platform, at least showing all a way forward. Now I can see the light. I can see the light. I can see the light. The website alone you show is something that many people try checking and they don't know which website is real or fake, which website you can use without teaching through an agent website. But we are so happy that you are able to do this for us. We are grateful. Thank you very much. You can send your thank you, your appreciation in the chat box, your emojis. As we get set for our second speaker, you can just appreciate a sound of appreciation. Okay, thank you and thank you and thank you. Now we move to the next part of our agenda, which we'll be getting ready to listen to our second speaker. But I would like to give a brief introduction of our second speaker while he gets prepared for the knowledge he will be sharing with us as well. Our second speaker is the founder, team leader, and agribusiness advisor with Research Desk Consulting Limited, a commercial agribusiness advisory, market research, data analytics, and visualization, and copy editing consulting firm in Ghana with operational office in Canada. Our guest speaker is also the co-founder and team leader of African FarmNet Limited, an agri-tech company providing AI gas-driven smart solution. Our guest speaker was a project manager for agribusiness expert for the Enterprises Support and Business Development Service Project. Our guest speaker is an avid agricultural researcher, a writer, and he involved in several international research collaboration and have upheld over 35 peer-reviewed articles, book chapter, and conference proceeding published in respective journal. Our guest speaker is again a member of the Crop Science Society of America, CSSA USA, Professional Writer Alliance, PWA, USA, American Writer and Artists Incorporated, AWA, USA, Organization of African Academic Doctors, OAAD, Kenya. Our guest speaker is no one else but Dr. Kojo Ahika. Dr. Kojo, if you are here, the stage is yours. As he comes on stage, let us welcome him in the chat box. You can send your fire emoji. You can send your welcoming remark. You can send welcoming statement. Welcome the guest speaker.
Thank you very much, moderator, and good afternoon from Ghana to you all. I would like to use the opportunity to thank the first speaker, Professor Edmond. Prof, thank you very much for sharing those insights with us as to how to make it to the UK educational sector. And to our leadership, I would like to use the opportunity to appreciate Dr. Elijah, General Secretary Holder, and all the other members of the think tank for this opportunity to share this with us all. Yes, with what is happening across the world, the global recession, if you look carefully, Africa is one of the hardest hit continents across the world. My country is no exception. We are on the verge of default at the moment. Those of you who follow news closely here, you could see all are not well with us as a continent. And OAD being an organization of African scholars, I think that we hold part of the solutions to what is happening on the continent. And then with the community we have, with the human resources we have, take it or leave it, we are the future leaders of our continent. And so decisions that we take today will prepare the grounds for posterity. And so there's a need for us to critically look at some of the practical actions that we need to take as an organization. The first phase of the founding as an organization has been exhausted. Now that we are in the second phase where we really need to doctor solutions to the problems and the challenges on the continent. There are a few things that I would like to share with us. Let me say that this sharing is based on my own experience and also with experience in other organizations and community that I belong to. I will also say that this is also something that I think most of you are familiar with, but we have not really considered it to be part of the solutions to what we are going through as a continent. So yes, most of us here are PhD holders, but you all agree with me that not all of us, okay, who be necessarily interested, okay, in pursuing career in the academic circles or to making it to be a lecturer or to be a professional researcher. Notwithstanding, it doesn't mean that your PhD is not being put to use. You can put your PhD training to use in industry, in politics, in business, in entrepreneurship, in innovation, commercialization, and research uptake. And this is where I would like to center my discussion. It's a discussion actually with you or as members of the Organization of African Academic Doctors. So with what we have now, since we founded OAD about 3-4 years ago, the attention has been on we having the best of our students, especially in studying in China, in other parts of the world, okay, to surmount challenges to the academic research. And so the first phase was for us to increase our research output as a continent to the global academic community. And I think OAD has been able to excite us over the years to be able to contribute meaningfully to the academic metrics and statistics in the global community. Notwithstanding, we have gotten to a point where we need to go beyond just producing research papers, or just teaching, okay, to also see how best we can translate our skill set. We can leverage on our skill set to solve real society problems, real national problems, and real continental problems. So I present to you 4 action points that I think that if we are able to take into consideration as a community, it will help us. Let me say that all these resources are available to us at the moment as a community. The first one is tenure academics, just like the first speaker, okay, open our eyes to opportunities in the teaching field in the UK, okay. It's an opportunity that I think we need to have a well-structured unit under OAD that will be able to help people who are asking a lot of questions, people who do not know how to start and even what to do about it to even take advantage of these opportunities. When we have it well structured, it makes it easier, okay, for them to for our members to be able to leverage on these opportunities. What OAD have to me is not just the PhD that we have, the scholarships that we have, or the resources that we have. what we call social capital in entrepreneurship. Social capital is that relationship, okay, that opportunity that comes through relationship that we have as a community. And I think that is where we need to find a way to leverage on that social capital to grow the organization from a traditional organization to a community of solution providers. And so one of them is the tenure academics, where we have a dedicated team who are part of the ESCO or whatever you would like to call it, okay? And then because this is going to require some amount of time and resources from the people who are going to lead this, there will be a need for people who will sign up to this program to be trained, especially for like Prof, for instance, who's in the UK and is willing to train people, help people, guide them through the applications. It shouldn't come free. OAD need to charge people some token as a commitment fee. This is not to say you are paying to access the service, okay? It's to attest, is to confirm your seriousness and your commitment to such grooming and such mentoring under people who are seasoned and who are experienced in the field. And then not only are they going to guide you, but they'll also connect you to the pool of other OAD members who are tenure academic, who hold tenure academic positions in other institutions across the world, not only in Africa, not only in the UK, but even in the US and other parts of the world. And then doing that, it streamlined the process for people to access such opportunities so that you do not struggle on your own. So that is one. The Agenda 2063, which underlines the African Continental Free Trade Area, will only thrive on R&D. And you and I know that currently R&D in terms of our contribution as a continent is nothing to write home about. And that section, okay, that community, that sub-community on tenure academics, okay, we'll also see to those people who want to take advantage of academic position across the continent in terms of academic leadership, shaping the future of research, R&D on the continent, shaping the future of higher education on the continent. These people will be central to contributing to shaping and also grooming the next generation of our higher education leaders across the continent. This is one of the things that I think we can do as an organization to contribute meaningfully to shaping development on our continent as an organization. The second part is what I call the PhDpreneurship or PhDpreneurs. For instance, I find myself in this category, okay, where we focus more on research uptake and commercialization of research upkeep, okay, where we have startups commercializing some of our research findings to provide real products and services to challenges in our communities, in our countries, and across the continent. And this is where we need people like myself and other people who have PhDs, okay, but have startups or running businesses or running organizations who will come together to pull their skill set to train others who want to resort to that path, who want to explore opportunities on that path. You have a PhD, but you don't want to go and do a postdoc because you don't have interest in taking up a tenure academic track position, but you want to commercialize your research findings, or even want to commercialize an idea that you have, but then you just do not start. Statistics have it that startup owners or founders with PhD holders, the rate of attraction in terms of the rate of failure of those startups are lesser compared to those who are less educated. And so it tells you that, yes, you and you are better positioned to lead startups. If you look at the startup evolution across the continent now, most of our people who are leading these startups do not even have up to the master's degree. I even have up to master's degree. And we have all these resources of PhD that we have in this house, okay? We are just looking elsewhere and nobody's thinking of how to contribute to the startup revolution across the continent. So we need you and I, okay, to take advantage of these happenings on the continent, especially with a door that has, with a continental door that has been opened to broaden the market space for us across the continent to the African Continental Free Trade Area. There will be a need for you and I to get in there, commercializing innovation, commercializing our research findings, through startups and joint ventures, okay, that could help us to be able to produce products country-specific product, continental-specific product and services. Okay, that would be a solution to some of the challenges we have on the continent. And so we need practicing entrepreneurs, practicing founders, practicing innovators. Okay, a team of 4 or 5 or maximum should be like 7. Okay, who groom us? Those of you who are interested, but you sign up, and that sign up is not free, like I mentioned. Pay a token to OAD so that you be committed to those training, you be committed to those guidance, you be committed to those networks and referrals. Okay, that these crop of entrepreneurs or this crop of founders will be providing you so that you take it serious. They help you to reduce your risk level. They also help you to streamline your processes to bring your idea to market, your product to market, and we help you to ideate well from the ideation to commercialization so that your product and your services could be more relevant and could be more viable on the continent when it is implemented. The second action that I think we can also take advantage of as a community is professional services, like where I fit in very well. Okay, thankfully, recently, as a result of the push from the private sector, like some of us, okay, the African Secretariat and the AU have agreed, okay, to have a separate protocol on services. So there's a protocol, that is the second protocol in trading services, which caters for service provision and all service providers under the Continental Free Trade Area. And we need these to be more operational to be able to ensure that hardcore products are exportable across borders. Without you, okay, for instance, in my field, what is in agriculture, agribusiness, for instance, there's no way you can export a product without a market research. And we need you and I to take up this sort of tax to do it. But we wait and allow the Indians to take advantage. The Lebanese are taking advantage. Not the Chinese are taking advantage. We are the same people who come back and complain. And so we need you and I to position ourselves to take advantage of some of these opportunities, develop a well-structured service startups across the continent. And it will take OAD to contribute to this because we have the pool of resources. We have the experts in the field. Unfortunately, we do not have them. We do not see them taking advantage of it because they do not know how to go about it. But if you have people like that, people like us who are already taking advantage of it, we can coach them, we can groom them, we can guide them to take advantage of these and then position themselves in their respective 44 countries that have ratified the agreement so far and provide hardcore market research services, IT services, e-market services, other services that could be relevant to actualizing the African Continental Free Trade Area. So this is one of the ways, one of the actions that I think OAD can initiate, especially in 2023 and beyond, to ensure that we are leveraging on the human resources that we have as an organization, contribute to doctrine solutions to the challenges of the continent. Lastly, but not the least, is partnership. When you look at the SDG, the 17 goal, the last goal is partnership for the goals. Okay, and we cannot do all this without partnerships. And so we need that intra and inter-African partnerships where we have the diaspora who want to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Unfortunately, because they are not on the continent, they don't know where to go about. Last 2 weeks, I had a section with one of our sub-community under OAD, where I spoke about how to leverage AI in promoting from centricity in the Caribbean. We want to do something on the continent, but I didn't know how to go about it. We've started some conversation, and interesting things are coming out. Other partners are also interested to participate. And so we need this sort of partnerships. Okay, so we have a separate section that will be responsible for ensuring that within OAD to provide solutions to the challenges that we have. You are an African, you understand the problem in Africa, and solution is coming with a solution specific to the problem, not to massage the problem and leave it as it is. And so we need these four action points in addition to other actions that I think we can meaningfully take advantage of the pool of resources that we have, which I refer to as a social capital within OAD, to contribute to doctrine solutions to the challenges of the African continent. Lastly, OAD
Hello, Gideon. It seems we lost him. Yeah, moderator, can you hear?
I can hear you. Let's wait. I think we just lost him, but he will soon be back. Let's just wait. So you can be preparing your question, be writing down your question and other thing while we are with him. I think he's back. I think he's back. He have two accounts here. You are muted. You are muted, Dr. Kojo. His two account is muted. So
Okay.
I don't know which one. Hello.
Can I be heard now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
My apologies. Okay. Yes. So, for instance, there's an organization called Cheeky Scientist. I'm sure most of you, since you're all PhD holder, you know Cheeky Scientist. Cheeky Scientist is led by Isaiah Hanke, who is based in the US. Okay. And what he does is a similar thing that I've spoken about. Okay. As I am a member of Cheeky Scientist, and one of the things we do in Cheeky Scientist is to ensure that whatever discipline you have your PhD in, if you still want to remain in that sector or in that discipline, okay, you are able to make good use of it, either in academia or industry, or you want to go into management consulting, or you want to go into politics or governance or public sector, for instance. So we have a team who are part of, here we call it like the ESCO, okay? And those teams, their responsibility, okay, but then you have to register and pay for it. And the payment is not just a payment, it's a commitment. We call it a commitment in Cheeky Scientist. And what we do is that we ensure that, okay, you are professionally prepared. One of my colleagues recently got an industry position in Canada through that program. And what he did was he underwent a 3-month training with them. And then through the guidance, one of the members on the committee just connected into a company that he consulted for, and they recruited him as their research lead. And so we need that networking, okay? We need that close association and close grooming and mentoring to help people to identify opportunities and then prepare themselves well to take advantage of it. The reason is this: most of our PhD training are not adequately preparing us for the industry. They are only preparing us for academic positions. And if you're not like Professor Edmond and the others who have found their passion in the academia, like myself, you'll be stuck. You come back and it's like you have a PhD, but then you seem that your life is stunted. And so we need to have a diversified pool of experts within different sectors of our economy who understand what is going on to help you transition from your academics to whichever industry that your skill set are suitable for, and then prepare you to take advantage in those sectors. And one of the ways we can do this is through a close and effective networking. And so the networking here, this is where they connect you to hiring managers of these top Fortune 500 companies. I know a lot of our people here work in Fortune 500 companies, but if we don't tell you, you won't know them. And so this is where we bring 1 or 2 of them together, help you And then they give you the tidbit as to how they got into how you can prepare yourself, how you can structure your CV, how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile, for instance, how you can even revise your CV and your cover letters. I mean, how you can even translate some of the knowledge that you have acquired in your training to fit into the positions that are available within those companies and take advantage of it. That is how we prepare to take advantage of the future. But if you continue on this traditional way of an organization, I'm sorry, we are just massaging the solutions, and then we need to really contribute to the solutions on the continent. Last but not the least is the incubator and accelerator. So here, I'm not talking about incubating and accelerating an organization or a startup. I'm talking about human capital. You and I, the skill set we have here. How do we groom them? Okay, you may have a training in biological sciences like myself, but then you could see that you have a passion in the IT field, but you don't know where to proceed. Okay, this is where you have these team who are specialized in the IT field, taking you through a series of basic training. You already have some sort of knowledge about it, but you don't know how to be able to translate that your skill set. For instance, I'm in agriculture. I'm using AI in providing solutions to smallholder farmers. Okay, I did not know programming. I didn't do coding in school. How did I do it? Because I understand how this can be applied through the guidance of few people in my network. And so you need that guidance, you need that training, you need that exposure to be able to know what you have, the worth that you should place on the knowledge relevant to solve real life problems on our continent, in our countries. And the last one had to do with job search skill. And this also relates to Professor Eddie's section. And so this is where we need a one-on-one, just as I said like earlier on, of people who really want to take up certain position. It's not all of us who can be entrepreneurs. Not all of us can be innovators. But those of you who want to be staff, who want to be workers for other institutions. For instance, I have a startup. I'm looking for a team member who could take up management, marketing, and business administration section of one of my startups. And so this is where we need this kind of networking to be able to know, so that when it comes to that, people will have startups that they need to bring other people on board. These subcommittees or the closer working committee can recommend, if you bring this challenge to them, they can recommend to you who and who they have prepared that they think could be suitable for this position to take up this position with you. And through that, we will help in contributing the doctrine solution to the continent that we find ourselves in. So this is a bit of a sharing. My mission is to get us angry so that we take action. Do not think that because you are not in Africa, you do not matter, and you do not have much to contribute. Because you are not in politics, you don't have a way to contribute to development in your country, especially with the African Continental Free Trade Area. I think all of us have a level playing field now that we can position ourselves to take advantage and contribute meaningfully to doctrine solution to the challenges we find ourselves in as a continent. I'm looking forward to see that in the next 10, 15 years to come, because of your participation, you and I are going to be in the helm of affairs. What kind of mindset are we going to live with the next generation? And we need those grooming to be able to help us, okay, unlearn some of the mindset that has eaten us up as a continent, as a Black race, and be able to take our destinies into our own hands. And I think OAD is well positioned to help us in bringing this to reality. So these are some few thoughts that I think could be useful to us as a community. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I look forward to the interactions on the page. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let us send in emoji and thank you messages in the chat as we prepare our question. If you have your question, you can raise your hand or you send the question in the chat box. You can raise your hand or you send your question in the chat box.
Gideon, I'm raising my hand. Can you see my hand raised?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the speaker, Dr. Kojo. Really appreciate the frankness and the passion you poured into the presentation and discussion subsequently. So I want to ask, one of the challenges we've encountered recently for some members of OAD who have tried to venture into entrepreneurship is the issue of funding. There are a number of funding entities that are available and are willing to provide funds for people, but the challenge that seems to be on ground is like many of the people are not ready to be funded, and also sometimes when they send out their proposals, or when they prepare pitch decks, it seems like the funding agencies don't just seem to find them ready to be funded. So I wanted to ask your thoughts or suggestions that we can be communicating to our people as they prepare themselves, because we know already kind of that the most difficult aspect for African entrepreneurs seem to be funding. Even when they seem to have good ideas, funding is still a challenge. So what are your thoughts on this, and how you may advise our people? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President. Yes, so I think you are right. The issue is this: most venture capitalists or most investors who invest not in only the idea, but to invest in the viability of the business. In other words, the commercial value of that idea. And so when you present your idea to them at the idea stage without any proof of concept, without any minimum viable product, without any proof that indeed this is going to work in the real world, it's difficult for it to get funded, especially as an African. It's only in the US that in rare cases, you see Silicon Valley investing in idea at the idea stage. Okay. But when it comes to Africa, they want you to implement the ideas to a certain level, get to the MVP stage, okay, the most proof of concept, and get to the minimum viable product where we have been able to demonstrate in real world that people have used your product, and these are the traction. And then when you have additional fund, this is the scale to which you can take the idea before you start putting money in your idea. So it's not just an idea they are interested in because of the risk extreme risks we have on our continent. Okay, most investors want to have experimented. Okay, people have in real life use your idea, use your product or your services, that it is working. For instance, when I started my agri-tech startup, we didn't start by straight away going to look for funding. We bootstrapped. What I mean by bootstrap, we contributed as founders to bring the idea to market. And after we've gotten about 60 to 100 farmers using and other companies using our product, we entered into the USAID 4 Army Work Challenge Prize in South Africa. And then through that, we were able to win some grants. We came at the second runner-up in that award program. And after that, we have these founders and investors rather chasing us to invest. We still told them we're not ready because we detected some flaws within our product that we wanted to correct. And that has taken us this far. COVID came in and dragged everything. And so what it means is that it's better you position yourself so that the investors would rather chase you to fund than you chasing the investors for them to fund you. And that is where that is the reverse of investing on our continent, especially in startup on our continent. It's unlike the US, where you see most VCs who are also based in Silicon Valley and be able to understand the commercial value of the idea. And in the idea stage, they are willing to put money into your startup. But in our continent, they expect you to do something. Let them see the results. Let them see the impact of your product or your services. And then they themselves will be coming after you to invest into your product and your services. So if you find yourself in that stage, that is what I will advise you. On the issue of people not ready to this, I don't know how to call it, this idea that they want to own all the businesses themselves. They want to be the sole owner, sole proprietorship. They want to own whatever comes in. And so you could see that they are needing funding, but they will tell you that no, they don't need funding because the funding doesn't come in for free. Some will come in as an equity. Okay, some will also come in as a loan. And so a lot of people do not want to take on the equity. But I also think that if you can give 2% of your company, okay, and then a funding can take that your company to a valuation of $50 million than the $1 million that you have as a company. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So that mindset needs to be changed. And that takes a lot of grooming and training for you to understand that you need not to own 100% of your company to be rich. Bill Gates, for instance, doesn't own 100% of Microsoft. He owns less than 30% of the company. He's still a billionaire, one of the richest person on earth. So you don't need to own 100% of your company to be rich. And I think that is a mindset most of us will need to unlearn. And that takes some sort of training and grooming for you to unlearn those things. It is not easy, especially if you look at where you started from, how you have come to let it go. A lot of people will not let it go until you have that training. And that is why we advise that you have this sort of training to either acceleration or incubator training, which we do not have currently in most countries. In my country, we have a lot of accelerators and incubator companies that are doing that to help, but not all of us want to go through that process of being good because those incubator companies and accelerator companies also have a share and equity in your company as well. Not a lot of us want to subject ourselves to those sort of arrangements. And so understand where you stand and understand what exactly you want to do with your company. Is it for your own personal profit or to make an impact? When you have that balance, it makes it easier for you to make a decision.
Powerful.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Odi, do you have a follow-up question to that? Or it's okay?
No, that was just okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not seeing any hand be raised. So if you have your question, you have a doubt, you keep asking yourself, just force it out. And other person may be saved from your question. So if you have any other question, either text in the chat room or you raise your hand so you can open your mouth and ask.
And Gideon, if not a question, it could also be contribution.
Okay, sure. Yeah. If you have any contribution, comment, you can also contribute. Okay, if there is no question, then we can.
Okay, if there are no questions, I have a question for the community.
Okay.
I believe we are all Africans. We are all from one of the 54 countries and even the 44 countries that have ratified the African Continental Free Trade Area. If I may ask, what is the implementation plan so far in your country in terms of the African Continental Free Trade Area? And if you know it, how are you positioning yourself to take advantage? Anybody?
Okay, if anyone for this, you can just open your mouth and give a point from your country point of view. If not your country, maybe you reside other country, African country that you have more idea about free trade, you can also talk about that.
Hello?
Yeah, hello,
Yes,
you are loud.
Nabila.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Kujo. Yes, about that free trade zone, I used to like attend some meetings, especially with the ISO zones. And then for my country, right now they have like that free trade zone, especially in the joint project. Is with Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and my country. So for the project, for my ideas about the thing, as the leader of the logistics association in my country, and as I plan also like to involve in agribusiness and especially like agriculture. So I tried now to reach out to those people who are like more advanced in that issue, and I have read some articles as well and see how that free trade zone project is going to work. I attended already like some meetings, and I'm right now like writing even a paper to know exactly the uh, characteristics of, and also like the latest news about that agriculture in my country, which is like Mali, and see how exactly also we can collaborate and use that free trade zone with the other two countries that are linked with the projects. But so far, I'm not sure if they like upgrade or they have another news about it. But for now, the only the only development about that free trade zone is like they started some point, like for instance, the custom clearance issues and also the places to locate. Now they are trying to see how they can connect those three areas, like Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and Mali. Yeah, that's what I know about it.
Okay. Thank you very much. So what are you doing about it? Why? How are you positioning yourself to take advantage?
Okay,
That
as
is
advantage.
Mali, right?
Yes, Mali. Yes. Okay. For
I
me,
think unfortunately, Mali is suspended.
for now.
Yes, Mali is suspended because of the coup d'etat.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
But that doesn't mean you can't still take advantage. So what you will need to do for me, where I will recommend to you is to position yourself to provide training to SMEs who want to take advantage to export across borders. You are into logistics, and that is your area.
Yes.
Yes. So help streamline how people can register and also get their goods to export across borders. Secondly, you can help them identify partners, help that importers in other countries that they can work with.
Okay.
And then through that, you'll be able to provide those training for XM. Will be interested that you are not just training them, but you are training, you are connecting them, okay, to partners to export and to trade.
Okay, okay. But also because they were talking also about like those certification, how that one will work. Because if I'm not sure if you are not certified or if you are not in working with like those free trade zone partners, how you can be able or to prove that you are a good trainer for that.
Okay, so what you need to do is to get in touch with your country action committee. I think different countries have a different name for it. In my country, we call it the National After Coordination of it. Nigeria call it the National After Action Committee. Other countries call it different names. So these are committees that are set up or agencies that are set up by mostly by the Minister of Trade, okay, to coordinate the implementation at the country level of AFTA. And so when you get in touch with them, they are looking for people like you and I, especially those of you with master's degree and above, irrespective of your area. They're looking for people like you and I, okay, to assist them to break down some of these legal terms in the protocols and simplify them for XMEs to take advantage of the deal. But unfortunately, it's like the youth, we are nowhere to be found. And I think it's high time we embrace it. The African Union just declared 2023 the year of the after. And so there is more resources that is going to be pumped into the sector. I'm currently doing something with Pan-African Business Lab. Pan-African Business Lab is based in Lagos, Nigeria, but we operate across 15 countries, where we provide training for XMEs across the continent on how to create linkages and how to connect, how to look for market and export product under the AFTA. We had the opportunity to work with another investor who we are trying to make it a continental-wide platform. When that goes on stream, I think I will let you know. Where we are going to have, yes, we want to make it across all the 44 countries. so that they will take advantage of the deal. Unfortunately, AFTA is both a policy document and also a trade document. The policy document is for the politician. The trade document is for you and I who want to profit from the deal. And so let's leave the policy for the politicians, and then let's work with the trade aspect of the policy. And that is where you really have to position yourself to take advantage. I have a lot of requests from foreign investors who are trying to take advantage, position themselves where to partner with Africans, okay, to take advantage of the deal. But my own African brothers and sisters don't seem to care. And that is one of the things I really want to get us angry about this afternoon. Seriously, I think you as a member of OAD, we need to start thinking differently, rather than we living this goat, living it for the Chinese, living it for the Lebanese, living it for the Indians. I'm mentioning these three countries because they are very aggressive on the continent. You go to most of our respective countries, they've taken over in terms of the XME sector in our countries. And we are the same people who complain. We are not positioning ourselves well to take advantage. It seems we are more love to talk than to do. And I think we need to move away from from talking and to do more. And one of the ways you can do, thank God you have a higher education, PhD, masters. That is all you need. Even those without those degrees are taking advantage, are making millions of it. But you and I will still sit down and complain. So this afternoon, if you didn't take anything from me, I really want you to get back to your country, find out what your country is doing about AFTA. If there's any agency that is responsible, please start getting it. They need you. They need you and I. I am working directly with my country office. I didn't know with my skill set from agribusiness, they need it. So no, you are the kind of people we need. Okay, so please don't sit down idle, get in touch with them. They won't come to you, remember. You have to go to them and push for it. There are opportunities out there. For instance, they are looking for a consultant that want to develop, streamline the processes of registration for people who want to export vegetables from Ghana to the Ivory Coast. Definitely somebody who studied agriculture will be a best fit. You don't need to have a degree in international trade to do that. All you need to be able to understand the technicalities involved in the perishability of such product. And then when you are developing a document, you take all those things into consideration. And that goes a long way to help the Secretariat to implement such actions. Remember, the Secretariat is only that oversight agency. The implementation is you and I. And so we need to position ourselves to take advantage of that. And that is one of the things I would like OAD to really, really pay some attention to this year in terms of our implementation of our actions, especially with the 4-point that I give. If we can just pilot one, I will be available to assist with any of them that I would like us to pilot. And then we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. That can serve as an exemplar for replicating the others in the coming days. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Odi, you can unmute. Your hands is raised.
Okay, thank you very much once again. So just to support what he just said now in connection with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, this is really a huge thing. Some days ago, I saw some of the plans or some of the projects they are putting in place to find ways to minimize the challenges they are experiencing in terms of payment. You know, the payment challenges across the continent. By all means, the various African countries seem to be serious about this. Many of the leaders seem to be understanding it. Somehow also because it seems like there are some external agencies or other countries that really want to benefit from this, who have also put in a lot of effort to see to its fruition and to do the geopolitical negotiations that led to these number of countries that have adopted it. So, so if we as Africans don't sit up to take advantage of it, within a short time, we're going to find other countries bringing in products to certain countries or coming to set up in certain countries and then circulating things within the continent. Of course, we understand the challenges that have been expressed, that many of the products we provide within the countries, we provide similar products, which makes it difficult to cross-trade. but there are really many other things that can be brought into it. And I hadn't heard about the service protocol that Kojo talked about. So I hope that we can be charged and understand that having a PhD is not enough, is no longer enough, especially as an African. And thinking about maybe being a tenured track researcher is also no longer enough for Africans. It could be sufficient for people from other places. It could be sufficient for people in North America, for some Asian countries, but for Africans, it's no longer sufficient because those things don't deliver the kind of development that our continent needs at the moment. Kind of development our continent needs in terms of real terms, bringing those things into the real world to have a contact with the real people around. So I just wanted to chip that in as we move towards closing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That go to Dr. Kojo. If you can give your parting statement and some words of encouragement.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, to the ESCO and to all for participating and also listening to the few thoughts that we have and how to leverage on the human resource that we have as a community. Social capital is very key in every community, and I think that is what most community provide of this nature. Thankfully, we are a community of higher education. Most of us have PhDs, masters. And so that makes our social capital more priceless and valuable. And I think we position ourselves to leverage on that social capital will be part of the huge steps that we need to take to contribute to doctrine solutions to the challenges of our continent. Wherever else you find yourself as an African, the opportunities are not beyond you. Whether you are in your country or you are outside, you can still contribute meaningfully to the development of your country and see yourself as a resource. Remember, you are a resource first and foremost. And so see yourself as that and find out how you can contribute to making the continental free trade area happen in your country. One of the ways you can do that easily is e-commerce. And so you don't necessarily need to even be here in Ghana or be in Nigeria or in Zimbabwe. You can find a way you can create an online platform that you can even export any of the most competitive product within your country to wherever you find yourself in the world. And you can do that even leveraging on after have a preferential treatment for that. One of the ways we can also take advantage of the continental free trade area is through our intellectual property. Thankfully, there's a whole protocol on intellectual property that I spoke about a few weeks ago. Okay, so most of us, what we have is our intellectual property. Maybe what you can even have even patented a methodology on it that makes it work. That is your intellectual property. Make that available so that investors who want to make such things happen on our continent and looking for a good use case, okay, to implement that, can use those intellectual property at a fee. Remember, it's not going to be free because you have patented it. It is going to be your intellectual property and they need to pay you to use such knowledge and such research outputs to make things happen on our continent. So we'll have a part to play in contributing to the Agenda 2063. I wish us a very good evening and wherever else you find yourself. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dr. Kojo. Your effort is highly taken into consideration. Your effort have not been in vain. You have at least shift our mentality from one stage to another. This is not just for us on the platform here, but for Africa and the world at large. We'll take this to our various countries and other neighboring countries and see what we can do to move forward. Thank you. Then the next attempt we will be calling on our Excellency, His Excellency Dr. O.D. Elijah for the closing remark. Dr. Odi.
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Gideon, for moderating and holding the conversation. Many thanks also to Dr. Kojo for bringing us this last session. And plenty of thanks to Professor Edmond for the session he delivered to us. We strongly appreciate this, and this is what it's about, the family. Like when we say this is a family meeting, it's actually what it is. We are thinking about the welfare of each individual that is part of the organization, especially because we understand very strongly, like Dr. Kojo mentioned, we understand very strongly the concept of social capital. So for us, it is a point of investment which we are going to keep making to ensure that every member of OAD, like we keep saying, nobody who hangs around with us will have challenges, financial challenges that they cannot surmount easily. No African PhD holder, no African PhD student will end up being a poor person, because we have all the resources here. If you want to do something and you don't know how to do it, if you just look around within the organization, you'll find someone who knows how to do what you don't know how to do. Then you do what you know how to do, and put all those together, great things will happen. So brothers and sisters in this family, want to call upon us, pay attention, because when people are, for those who are still studying as PhD students, there is a mirage that always hangs on people when they are studying for PhD, which makes them feel like PhD is just so important and nothing else should be given attention for now. The challenge with that is that you finish PhD and suddenly you find yourself still in a place where it seems like you're not really ready. Because even for those who have jobs before doing their PhD, somehow as you finish, there is usually more expectation coming from you. So it's extremely important that while you are doing your PhD, that's the time you should use for building the network that will help you run your life, the network that will help you drive things when you are done. The job you've got, job security, even for those in the academia, it depends on your continual ability to publish. You need to keep publishing, you need to keep advancing the number of items you are putting out there. And if you have a good network, if you have a good network that you've established, you've worked on it over time, you won't find yourself in a situation where you are trying to apply for grants or trying to apply for some funding and you're looking for partners. By the time you're done with your PhD, you should be able to have partners that you have tested, you have tried them when it was not risky. You've worked with them on other things to be able to prove the possibility of working with them into the long future, into the long term. And the more we do this, the readier we become to ensure that we utilize the resources that are within the house. Now, take note also that for us in the different countries across the 54 countries in Africa, as the years unfold, we have mentioned again and again that we are going to be needing people in the different countries who we can trust to call upon at any time when opportunities begin to show up. You need to be able to, to be ready for us to, because we won't just look for anybody. If we're not sure of a particular country, we would rather not get into something there, because as an organization, we have a very high standard of integrity, very high standard of engagement, output, or result orientation. So we wouldn't want to do something that's going to put us in a bad light before other partners that we'll be working with around the world. Because indeed, as we've mentioned again and again, our target is to get at least 200,000 PhD holders or PhD students across the continent. And of course, they're going to be located, and currently as we are moving, located in different parts of the world. And we've mentioned again and again, not too long from now, we're going to be able to avail each individual a unique membership ID with which you're going to engage subsequently with everyone within the organization. Many benefits abound once the number of people is on ground. Many benefits, you can look in and find where you fit in. to get the benefits and to enjoy all that will be required of you. And let me take this opportunity to mention that the current Executive Council has gone 1 year and 3 months or 2 months into the tenure. And by November this year, we're going to have a new set of Executive Council members. And one of the things we do in terms of getting the leaders is that we want to look out for those who understand what we're doing, those who have been participating, those who have the passion to drive things on the continent. So of course, there's usually a time for a kind of interview and other things around it. So please, if you want to make special investment of time and avail yourself of the opportunity of being trained and trying your hands on real top level leadership on the continent, this is an opportunity for you that you can grab. But we don't just let that go to just anybody who is interested. We allow people who have understood our principles, who have understood the practices of what's going on in the house, those who are willing to make the relevant sacrifices required. Those are the people who bring on board. So we look forward to having more and more of your participation. Feel free to reach out to any member of the Executive Council to ask any questions about the organization or other things related to that. But for the purpose of this meeting, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to say thank you once again for participating and for being part of this organization, for building with us. As we build together, great things are going to happen. And let me thank, just before I hand over to the moderator, let me thank the members of the Executive Council who have been working very hard to make things happen in the house. Very much appreciation to you all. And encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. The results are showing. The results are showing. And the recording for this event is going to be available on our YouTube. Please, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, feel free to subscribe as quickly as possible. Also, link up with us on LinkedIn and on Facebook and other platforms. And on Instagram, we are on all those platforms. Please look out for those platforms and let's link up and build the community. And thank you so much once again for your time and attention. And over to you, moderator Gideon. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And thanks everyone. Dr. Odi, for connection's sake, will you mind sharing your WeChat ID maybe with the platform so others that are African and on this platform today can benefit by joining the various WeChat group that it belongs to?
Okay, I've just done that. My WeChat ID is linking up for growth. And of course, let me just mention also that on the 26th of, that's the next Sunday, 26th, yeah, 26th of February, we're going to have another very powerful engagement. And I'm looking forward to seeing us again. We are always doing something. Yes, so my WeChat ID is right there. And if you don't get it through that, you can also get it through this to 776837. Yeah, so any of these should be able to work and be able to help you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And we call it a day. Every good thing have an end. So we call this a day. You can end the recording and